Welcome to the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast. This is episode 96 and we are back, baby.
We are back. It has been so long. I forgot what the intro music sounded like. Adam Childs here with Kieren Lefebvre. Actually, that reminds me at the competition on the weekend, which unfortunately Kieren had registered but didn't go because he had their chest infection, as our longtime listeners will know.
That's why we were away.
Yeah, that's why we had a couple of weeks with no episodes, because Kieren unfortunately had a chest infection. So he also wasn't at the competition. And when they were calling out your name, it was funny. On the Saturday, I actually went down to the bullpen and I was like, oh, this competitor here, like he's not here today.
I emailed them as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
so I was like, you can scrap him. But then on the Sunday, I didn't do that. And they were like, Kieren Lefebvre.
Yeah.
Kieren Lefebvre.
I've heard some funny pronunciations over the years.
Yeah,
the worst was Lefebvre. I don't know how they got it.
Yeah, they were nowhere near getting your name correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are back. It's been, bro, I don't know. Actually, it's been
weeks.
It's been a few weeks. Yeah.
You're listening to this from the future. You're like, what are you talking about, man? I just listened to 95. Now I'm on 96. If you're binging the episodes.
I've got a friend binging it. One of my friends, actually, what did he say that I could? So people might know that I first started training in Canada, and I made a really good friend there. His name's Peter, and he only just recently discovered our podcast. He was like, how come you didn't tell me? I was like, bro, I thought you knew. What did he say? He said something like, you should tell people, this is his words, not mine. So otherwise I'll get myself in trouble. And what he sent as well. So I'd like to share this. We might put it on our Patreon. And I haven't showed you this actually.
Oh.
He came through with heaps of old photos in Brazil that I don't even have. Right?
No way.
It's funny. You know how I feel about social media and all that sort of stuff. I'm not really into it. Yeah, big fan. I'm not really into it. But I always look back and go, oh, I wish I'd taken more photos. Or I have a phone full of photos, but then I upgrade phones and I just lose all the photos.
Yeah.
So I don't really have any photos of Brazil. But Peter sent me a whole bunch of photos and he was like, oh man, show Kieren, let me know what he thinks. And so awesome. Maybe I'll put up on the Patreon some of the photos that he sent me, I don't know, almost 100 photos.
Stand by on the Patreon.
Yeah. He also said your podcast partner is too young, doesn't know Michael Schumacher or Leonardo Machida. He needs some punishment.
Peter, come punish me, boy.
But anyway,
come punish me.
I'll find the thing he sent. But anyway, the reason I got onto this is because he just discovered it a week ago.
Oh, right.
He's just binge listening.
Oh, what a legend.
Yeah,
Shout out to Peter. Thank you.
Yeah. So maybe this is only a week ago. He might already be up to episode 96.
That's some hectic binging, man. We got hours of content.
Yeah.
Speaking of hours of content, here's another one. Another hour.
That's right. Yeah. So what are we talking about today, bro?
So we're talking about some sexism in Jiu-Jitsu. You would have seen the title if you clicked on this episode, but we're talking all about some sexism in Jiu-Jitsu. Now we're going to stay out of. We're not going to try. We're trying not to be too political on the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast. We're not the Beyond Politics podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
But I mean, sometimes things need to be addressed. You just need to talk about some things and get some things off your chest that are bothering you with the jiu-jitsu culture, we'll say.
Yeah, so
we're not woke, just saying. I don't identify as woke.
I'm actually going to be a little ignorant here. I actually don't actually know what that means. Like when
what
someone
woke means, yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean,
I don't know.
How do you describe it? What is when people are talking about being woke?
Yeah, I think
what exactly.
I think that it's a catch-all term for people basically saying that they subscribe to very, we'll say, modern political, maybe left-leaning ideals. They're very modern in the way they approach culture, gender norms, things like that. So there's different levels of extremes, but I mean, when anyone says, "Oh, I'm not woke," they're basically just saying that I'm not subscribing to some very far left ideals. That's my idea of it.
Right.
I suppose that may have angered some people. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, fuck.
I don't know, bro.
Whatever, dude.
Sexism.
Go. Send it,
dude.
I'm just a dude, bro.
So the reason this came up is because here in Australia, there's an upcoming competition that is trying to do something different compared to your standard competition. Your standard comp, you pay a registration fee to do the competition. If you win, you get a medal that's worth like $2. You know, you don't even win back like your registration fee or anything like that. Funnily enough, the competition that was on this weekend, they were the New South Wales state titles that had been essentially, I guess, cancelled from last year because of COVID. So last year being 2021, you know, if you're listening to this in the future, currently 2022, the medals that they awarded at the competition said 2021 on them.
Wow.
So they just, I mean, I've sympathized with them because
there's going to be thousands of dollars worth of fucking medals.
Of course, I do sympathize with them, but, you know, at the same time, it's a bit funny. It's like, you know, you definitely lose a little bit of credibility there when you're giving out last year's medals. But at the same time, I'm like, fuck, you know, I don't know. I've never put on a competition. Maybe the margins are minuscule, and they're like, man, if we can't get new medals, I don't know.
Yeah,
but it was quite funny. So you usually don't get shit for competing. This upcoming competition is giving 4 tickets for the winners of the particular divisions, and those tickets are tickets to No-Gi Worlds to go compete in No-Gi Worlds, which is a pretty big prize when you consider we're in Australia. Like it's a long, expensive flight, you know? It's not like a little domestic flight.
Yeah.
How does this get to sexism? Because if you don't have a penis, you can't win one of those prizes, right? There are no tickets for the women. And so I actually got super pissed off when I first found out about this because it's, I don't know. You can't really explain it any other way than saying it's not cool. And I was at this competition and I was telling one of my teammates about it. I was like, I was telling Fabricio, who we've had on the podcast before. He owns an Alliance gym on the north of Sydney. And I was like, well, have you heard about this upcoming competition, blah, blah, blah. And while I was essentially dumping shit on this competition, the guy who's running it, who I'd never met, right, overheard us talking, and he's like, yeah, that's my competition. What about it? And I was like, well, why aren't the girls getting prizes?
Really?
Oh, straight up. I was like, why are there no prizes for the women?
Yeah.
Man, I then just had to listen like 20 minutes, this dude crap on about like essentially justifying why there were no prizes for the women in this competition.
What was the justification?
Oh, I mean, he had some real sound arguments.
Send it.
Man, so, I mean, the excuse that always gets used, I guess in sport as a whole, is that the discrepancy in viewership and the amount of revenue that's generated, you know, that's why the prize money is never equal. That's the argument that people make, right? They go, well, not as many people buy tickets to go watch like a female match of tennis, for example. So if we don't sell as many tickets to that match, like how can we award the same amount of prize money as we do to the males because we sell more tickets to the males? That's the excuse or reason that's given. And yeah, I guess if you're looking at a spreadsheet, that makes sense, but we're not looking at a spreadsheet, right? We're looking at individuals and equality and everything. And so his argument was essentially the same, but even more backwards. So first he goes off by saying that there's not enough women. Oh, how many competitors do you think are here today? And I'm like, I don't fucking know, bro. Like, he's like, how many?
The first thing you do is start counting. When you walk in.
Hang on, give me a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Stop moving. Start again.
Yeah, that was the initial argument, right? And then I said, well, why don't you do what, you know, most federations do that award prizes like AJP or whatever, and you make either so AJP, I believe, does the prize money is dependent on the amount of registrations. So regardless of the division, it'll be something.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it'll be something like, I don't know, it may not be AJP or whatever, but there's an organization that does something like, let's keep it simple, mathematical-wise, they'll go, oh, if there's, you know, 0 to 4 competitors, prize money is like $100. If there's 4 to 8, it's $200. If there's 8 to 12, it's $300 or whatever, right? So, you know, it's you're making because the competitor pays a registration fee, so you're offsetting the prize money because you've got X amount of registrations.
So you're paying for your own prize money.
Well, sort of, right? I mean, collectively you're paying for it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, why not do that? Or why not just have a blanket, there needs to be a minimum of X amount of competitors, right? If the registration fee is, $100 and the ticket's worth $1,000, say something like there needs to be at least 12 competitors. So you're going to pay for the ticket and you'll make $200, right? Why not do something like that? And he literally was like, because then the women get pissed off because they register to compete to win a prize and then there's only 11 of them, so they get pissed off that the prize isn't available anymore. And I'm like, and you think they're not pissed off that that it's not available at all?
Yeah.
And he literally said, like, he goes, man, I don't know why I'm copping so much shit. No one's coming up to me being like, man, good on you, bro. It's better than nothing. He's like, what are these people getting here? A shitty medal. And I'm like, bro, like, okay, yeah, it's better than nothing. Like, cool, you're given a prize to the man. Yeah, I know. But, just because it's better than nothing doesn't mean it's good enough. Imagine if you were sitting over there and you're hungry, you're like you need some food or you're going to die. And I'm like, here, Kieren, here's some raw chicken. Right? Or,
better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. Or I go, here, Kieren, I know you've got a nut allergy, but here's a peanut butter sandwich. It's better than nothing. Right? You'd be like, I don't know if it is. So I just kept arguing. I honestly felt like I was talking to anyone who has, I don't know, just sort of one of those dogmatic people, or talking to a bigot, like someone you just can't reason with, right?
I think, just because you were like criticizing the event, they were always going to be on the defensive. They're never going to be like, oh, that's a really good idea. I never thought about that like that. They're going to double down and they're going to go on the attack.
Yeah, and I didn't say this to him, but in my head, a lot of it was me just standing there being like, yeah. But in my head, I was thinking, bro, the fact that we're having this conversation already justifies that it's wrong, And what was the other thing he said?
Is it just for black belts or is it open weights?
No, yeah. So his mentality is so fucking backwards that he goes, oh, you know what division has the most people? He goes the male adult blue belts. That's the most stacked division. He's like, so I've got to give them something. And in my head, I'm like,
wait, you can get a ticket to Worlds at this comp? I'm fucking going, bro. Straight up, I'm going. I'm supporting this man. Better than nothing.
I like this guy.
I'm fucking going, man. I can get a ticket. Is it just open weight? What's the go? Fucking hit me up.
Yeah, so I don't know what the division. I think I think the 4 divisions are blue and purple together, below 70 kilos and above 70, or below 80, above 80, or something like that.
80. Come on,
and
80.
then it's brown and black belts below and above.
So those are the 2 tickets. There's 2.
The 4 tickets.
Oh, right.
Right. So
so you're telling me they're giving blue belt males a
blue
ticket.
And purples together.
Blue and purple belt males a ticket before black belt females.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and so his logic, so he goes like, that's the biggest division, so I have to give them something. And in my head, I'm like, firstly, no, you don't, right? Like,
no one would expect any. No blue belt would expect a ticket to fucking Worlds, man.
I'm not. I mean, I won a ticket to Pans once as blue belt, but anyway, like I'm not shaking your head. Yeah, and the women got fucking nothing.
It's okay that benefits you, Adam. Yeah. That's what I'm getting. So, Sexism in Jiu-Jitsu featuring Adam Charles.
A picture of my face. Yeah, so I'm like not taking anything away from blue belts, but kind of the point you said, it was like, well, no, you don't. Like, I don't want to say they're just blue belts, but I mean, if you're looking at the sport from a professional point of view, you're trying to make it more legitimate and make it professional and send people to the world championships. You could argue that prior to black belt, you could still be considered an amateur, and then black belt's the professional. Like, the black belt's the A League, like the Premier League, and everything else is the like lower relegated leagues that are trying to feed into black belt.
Of course.
Obviously now, that's a very crude example, because we know that blue belts are winning ADCC trials.
They are
and shit
outliers.
Like that.
They're not the belt. They're not representatives of the belt. Let's be honest.
But, you know, so I'm kind of like, well, yeah, like, and then he goes, so I have to award them something to grow the sport. And I'm like, wait, so your logic is that the already busiest division needs to be incentivized to grow the sport, opposed to creating an incentive for the smaller divisions that have less competitors. And he's like, yeah, because that's the most stacked division, so I've got to grow the sport through that. And it's like, no, like, man, you need to give, you know, with that logic as well. Then why are the male adult black belts even getting a prize? Sometimes there's fuck all of them as well. You know,
they're the smallest divisions at every comp, which makes sense because
like
there's less people at the top,
especially locally in Sydney.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
I'm talking local, like your local fucking New South Wales states or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, always the smaller divisions.
And so he actually thinks that women are looking at this and going, oh, like that they're not. He expects women to look at this and go, oh man, awesome! This dude's giving prizes to the men. I can't wait till there's enough women in the sport and we can win prizes too. No, man, all you're doing is guaranteeing that no women are ever going to support your competitions. I flat out said to him, I was like, well, none of my students will be there. I said, we won't be supporting.
Come on, bro.
Unless
I need that ticket, bro. What the fuck?
See, but that's also the problem, right?
Yeah.
Because there are going to be a bunch of people who
they're going to fly in for this.
Maybe, yeah. Or like domestically fly in. Or there's going to be a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds or whatever who are kind of like, yeah, that sucks, but I want my ticket to the Worlds. And they're gonna go do it anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
I actually had what would be like the best fucking idea. Like if somehow I could just spread my sort of jiu-jitsu spider webs throughout the entire country and like contact the top blue, purple, brown, black belts in all of the country and be like, hey guys, we're going to go to this comp. We're going to win these 4 tickets and we're going to give all 4 of them to like the girls.
Wow.
And the girls go to No-Gi Worlds.
Wow.
That'd be fucking awesome. I would love to be able to.
I'll not give my ticket away. You can fucking jam it.
Sexism featuring Kieren. I like it, you know?
Oh, dude. Well, okay. If we're boycotting this, then okay, I support you. But I mean, is it in Sydney?
Yeah, this dude's a piece of shit, man. Like, it's funny because then at this same competition, I was then chatting to a jiu-jitsu friend of mine. Like, we didn't train together heaps, but we just have spent time on the mat together. He's a really nice guy. And yeah, we were just sort of chatting. And then this competition came up in the conversation and I was just dumping shit on this guy, being like, man, like, fucking like so unfair. Because some of the big female names in jiu-jitsu in Australia have been like livid, like Hope Douglas and Jess Fraser, like fuming.
They're absolute athletes.
Yeah,
like
dude.
Australia's, just for international listeners, and I mean, I'm saying this from what I witnessed at ADCC trials that recently happened, the Oceania trials. So basically all Australia, Oceania, Asia, this was our shot to get into ADCC. The women's divisions were fucking stacked. There was so much high talent that flew in from all over the country, overseas, everywhere. And the level of jiu-jitsu that we have in Australia in the women's divisions is awesome at the moment.
Yeah.
So to overlook that and to say that it's a numbers game or something like that, I don't understand.
Yeah. And so people like Jess Fraser, who's like one of the key people of Girls in Gis, which are, you know, these female-only competitions / camps that they do, you know, like they're kind of forced to do those female-only things because you got dickheads like this, right, who exclude them. But, you know, this – I sort of lost my train of thought of
You're talking to your friend and this competition.
Oh, yeah. And I was just like dumping shit on this dude and I didn't know that the friend I was talking to, that's who he had gotten all these belts from and got his black belt from him. And I was like, oh, bro, sorry, I was dumping shit on your coach. And he's like, no, man. He's like, that's why I left. He's like, he's like, I've realized. And he's like, I'm glad. He goes, because previously until now, it was all sort of like kept within unless you knew him directly, you didn't know. He's like, now I'm glad it's like public. He's like just shot himself in the foot. He's publicly announced of how much of a piece of shit he is. And now people are seeing that, you know. But like I said, there's going to be a lot of guys like you who are just, man, I want to go win my ticket. Fuck the women.
I'm fucking tempted. I can't change it. No, but you're right. If we don't support it, then it won't continue, I suppose. So, I mean, I don't like canceling or boycotting or whatever, but if people like, if I was in a position, say for example, Sophia really wanted a ticket.
What about if okay, like let's just change it from sexism to racism. What if it was the same thing and it was like you can win a ticket unless you're Aboriginal / African American or whatever? Would you go do that comp?
No, absolutely not. But the difference would be that they don't segregate their divisions like that. It's not acceptable.
That's true. Yeah,
that's the only concession. So I get what you're saying, and whenever sexism topics come up, I try to apply race to it to see if my opinion would change on it, if that makes sense. Because it's like a filter, you know what I mean? Because anytime
but that's a good point. Yeah, they don't separate.
Yeah, we're not in the 60s, Adam. Everyone can sit on the bus. Yeah. So like it's fucked up, right? It's really, really fucked up.
But I mean, he's also like he's then going on saying like he's going to add a ticket for the juvenile divisions. So he's like
everyone before the women. That's a bit weird.
There is no way. Like, okay, don't get me wrong. Kids are the future. Yes, I'm all on board with that, you know, because it's obvious. But, you know, you're talking like you've got female professional athletes who are trying to make a career in the sport.
Support them, please.
And like the 12-year-old kid has the right to win a ticket before that person does.
If I was this guy and if you were trying to do it again, if you were to like go back in time and be an advisor to this guy when he's putting together the competition, if he has the amount of money available for 4 tickets and he's given them all to the male division, say above 80, below 80, above 80, below 80 for blue and purple and then black and brown, you would go the two weight divisions for black and brown for the men and the 2 for the women.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Like if money's a factor, dude, you know, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but don't give 4 tickets. Just give 2, 1 for the men, 1 for the women.
Yeah.
Like,
but then how would you choose the weight? You'd have to pick a weight.
I don't know.
You would have to pick a weight bracket.
You'd have to pick a weight. Or you know, like I don't know, like, but just flat out saying it's not even on the table. I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's fair. It's already a sport that's dominated by males. I think just because of the nature
of the sport. Yeah, it's the nature of the beast.
You know,
so shout out to all the women that train out there. Like it's not easy. I'm assuming, again, I'm talking out of my ass because it's, you know, I'm privileged, not in that position, but I'm assuming that it's not easy to step into a gym full of men to do a combat sport.
Yeah, definitely.
As a woman.
And especially like we had a girl do a trial last night, and I remember when I first did a trial as, you know, as a woman, before I transitioned, like as a guy, and even then I was a bit nervous walking in the gym by myself. I didn't go with a friend; like I just went in by myself as a guy, and you know, walking into this, and like you know, I was nervous. Man, you add on top of that a girl. We had this girl do a trial last night, and unfortunately, there were no other girls in the class in that particular class, and you know. Man, I sympathize massively because it was nervous for me when I first did it as a dude, just wrestling with other dudes. And I mean, you know, the culture of our gym, obviously she was very well looked after and everything, but you know, it's a sport dominated by males, and it's just all too often you see like either avenues for women to get into the sport or grow in the sport, like be shut down or not even available, or then when women become successful, like they get shit dumped on them. You know, the best example is Gabby Garcia.
I was thinking as soon as you said shit dumped on them,
man, like
Gabby Garcia came to mind.
Say what you want about her jiu-jitsu, like I don't care. You can complain about whether she's good or bad at jiu-jitsu, or
I think there's no argument that can be made that she's bad.
or whether she just wins because of her size or whatnot. But like these are things she can't change, right? If you haven't seen Gabby in person, she's like 6'3", man, or 6. Like she's almost as me and her are like the same height. She's just a tall, big person, right? That's not her fault. And you know, she's been incredibly successful and then constantly gets called a man and okay, whatever, she's juicing, everyone's juicing, right? Even the little dudes are juicing in jiu-jitsu. So, you know, like what her reward for becoming successful is
to become like the point of
being told
contention and laughing stock or whatever.
Yeah. So then all these, white blue belt girls who are maybe also big girls, or not even maybe they're big, but they look at that and go, cool, I've got that to look forward to. When I'm successful at jiu-jitsu, people will tell me I'm a dude.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
super great.
And it's just constant this. I was listening to an interview with Fionn Davis, and she was just even talking about like the sexism in jiu-jitsu, and that she had never had it directly happen to her, but just even wildly inappropriate things that kind of happen and then just get, oh yeah, ha ha ha, awkward laugh, pretend it didn't happen and carry on,
Well, it's like we spoke about, I think, way previous in other episodes, there's a particular individual big in the jiu-jitsu space and the MMA space that doesn't roll with women, and we brought that up and said how
man, that video made me so angry.
we watched the video and
we can say his name. What's his name?
Fahasi or something.
Farias.
Yeah.
No,
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
You would know him. I butchered it. You'd be like, wow, do you not know this guy? But he's a fuckhead.
Better known as kind of the I don't know if he's the head coach, but like one of the coaches from, what are they called? TriStar MMA, the gym that GSP fought out of.
Very, very skilled.
And I believe he's a John Danaher black belt.
Yeah, very, very renowned in the space, very skilled, very, very good, excellent coach, yada, yada, yada. Piece of shit though, because he comes out and basically said that he doesn't roll with women. And the reason that he doesn't roll with women is because he doesn't want to be sexually aroused by them.
Yeah, because he essentially says it's impossible to roll with women
without being sexually aroused.
Not being aroused and having sexual thoughts.
What the fuck? What is wrong with you?
Man, Eddie's
what the fuck is wrong with you?
I think when we spoke about it, like, because we had someone submit a question saying, hey, my coach doesn't roll with women.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And I, just to quickly summarize that, I assume I would have said something along the lines of, like it's sexist, and B, how as an instructor can you really not assess your student, but you get a lot of information from rolling with your student. I can be a better coach to you if I get to roll with you, You could apply that to any sport. I could be your tennis coach, but if I never like have a match with you, and like there'd be things that I could help you with more if I actually play against you. Right?
Exactly. But it's ridiculous. And but what was probably as concerning, I won't say more concerning, but as concerning as that video were the comments. Like the amount of people that were jumping in to the comment thread and like championing this guy and saying, thank you, finally someone's saying it and all this sort of shit. I'm like, fuck, man.
Bro, like
there's some backward thinking people.
I don't get it. So like, does that mean, I'm just trying to think. So then if you're a dude and you're gay, does that mean then you should only roll with women? Because you can't roll with guys because you'll be sexually aroused.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess by his logic. That's a
perfect analogy.
I'm assuming he also has the mentality that if you're gay, you should be.
He's not going to roll with you
or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like,
it's ridiculous, right? If you apply it, like how we're talking about the race filter, if you apply that to this filter and then you say the same thing, then you're a bigot. And you are. And you can see it clear as day.
Yeah.
Like if you don't feel comfortable rolling with someone who is gay, then I think the problem lies with you.
Yeah. And I just find it weird because I couldn't think of anything like, I don't know. There's just, I get to how to someone who's uneducated about jiu-jitsu, they could look at it and see that it's not that it is sexual, but they could see how that connection could be made if you were uneducated about
from
jiu-jitsu.
The outside, from a cosmetic point of view, what it looks like.
But if you train jiu-jitsu, like there's nothing sexual about it. Like when you're rolling, I think I probably gave this example as well when we were talking about it. If I just not in a jiu-jitsu scenario, if I grabbed your ass, like that would be weird. If I was just like, and like touch your butt or whatever, that would be like weird, awkward.
I'd be okay with it. But
you'd be cool with it. Okay. But someone else. I know you'd be cool with it. Right. Like that'd be super weird. But when we're rolling, having a jiu-jitsu match, and like my fingers can pretty much be like on your drawstring down your butt crack. And like, there's nothing sexual about it. Cause like it's, you know what I mean though, right? There's
I pulled like someone like when you're doing that pressure pass and you're on their drawstring, you pull the whole pants off.
Yeah, if you're doing like a stack pass or something, and sometimes their whole ass comes out, and obviously, you don't.
You fix it.
You fix it. It's not like you're then like start drooling and you can't. You're like, there's nothing sexual about it, man. Like it's, I
don't know, man. I think maybe it's a different cultures, different upbringings, and different experiences have led these individuals to thinking a certain way about certain people.
Yeah, I think
that's the problem.
I get the different culture and different upbringing and religion or whatever, but like if it's what you do for your profession,
I think it's different when you're a coach. If you're just a hobbyist and you're a practitioner, say for example you're a woman and you don't want to roll with men because like you're worried that they're going to hurt you or you don't trust your certain training partners or particular people you don't know, that's one conversation. But I think the conversation that we're having very specifically, we're talking about an instructor, an advocate for the sport, a very renowned, well-known individual. And if they're sort of preaching this philosophy, I think that is not good for the sport.
No, definitely
and it's the same, we can circle it back to the competition, right? That's the same philosophy that's being preached in not awarding prizes to women and exclusively awarding prizes to all male divisions, but none of the female divisions.
It's like the perfect example of gatekeeping, right?
Yeah.
Like what does that say about, the equality in the sport or the inclusion for
saying we don't want women in the sport, saying we like that competition. If you're a woman in jiu-jitsu in Australia, in Sydney, don't show up to that competition. You're not welcome.
That's pretty much what it says,
right? It's exactly what it says.
I would find it hard pressed that any woman registers for that comp.
I'm curious to go to see if there are any.
Well, if they are, it's probably because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
I would argue
they might not even know about the prizes.
Yeah, exactly. They just go, oh, here's a comp, a local comp. I'll go do it.
Yep. Yeah. Totally.
But I think the competition probably still will be successful because you're still sitting here thinking, I want to go do that comp and win that ticket, right?
Yeah. That is because I'm a piece of shit at it. And on that note.
But, you said it talking about the ADCC, like the amount of talent that the girls are coming up with in jiu-jitsu is crazy.
And even up and coming talent, like I'm talking like purple belts, brown belts, blue belts that we have coming up. Very impressive.
I don't watch that much jiu-jitsu instructionals or even YouTube technique videos, right? I do sometimes if I'm looking for a specific improvement, but I don't often just sit there and go down a rabbit hole. But I actually recently did go down a rabbit hole of watching multiple videos of Fion Dave's teaching techniques. And I was like, man, this chick's like, obviously I know she's good, right? Just from her success as a competitor. But I was like, holy shit, man, like the details this chick knows about like these positions, like heaps of stuff that, oh man, I didn't know that. Like really, really good, right? Like, and I think they often get written off because of, how freaking biology works. You could have a female black belt world champion and a male blue belt world champion. And the blue belt may very well be able to manhandle the woman, right? Because he's just be bigger and stronger, right? But we know that there's more to jiu-jitsu than that. Like there's male black belt world champions that I outweigh by 50 kilos who I could give an immense hard time to. Right. But that doesn't mean I can't learn anything from them. So why is it any different for a female?
It's no
and I was just, it's not like I was expecting her not to be good at jiu-jitsu, but I'm just kind of proving the point of like, man, like the talent of women nowadays, like, and that talent is only going to grow or
as the pool of
grow.
The people, the candidates grow.
Exactly, man. Just essentially gatekeeping this whole, let's just say 50%. I don't know the actual division of male and females in the population, but you're essentially writing off 50% of the potential jiu-jitsu population of talent. So much to learn, so much to be created and discovered in jiu-jitsu. It's fucking bullshit, bro. I was fuming with this competition.
Couldn't agree more.
You better not go, Kieren.
Yeah, I don't think I can now. If we didn't have this podcast, I probably would have gone.
You can go, but only if you win and give the ticket to me.
I thought you I don't know about that. I probably just won't go.
Yeah, there'll still be, unfortunately.
It'll be stacked. It'll be packed.
A lot of people there because, their goals and their jiu-jitsu goals are, they're weighing it up and making that decision. It's hard.
They might not even have looked into it that deeply. Maybe they just saw, prize money for my division. I'll go.
Right.
Or prize for my division. I'll go. Yeah.
I have heard since this announcement that he's copped so much backlash that I believe he's considering adding one female ticket.
That's just appeasing to the crowd. That's like, nah.
It's bro, but when you stuck to your guns, I at least respected you.
No. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I'm like saying that he would do that. Like, fine, here's a ticket. Fine, I'll just cut into my profits and then we shut up now. That's what that says to me.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I don't think that is actually solving anything. Okay.
But it was quite ironic because
at least he's listening, or maybe he's worried that it's not going to make any money. Is probably more accurate. He's worried people aren't going to show up, or people are going to boycott it.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I mean, I think people will still go. All those same people who were at ADCC trials and whatever, those people who
100%.
They're still going to go and try win a ticket.
Yep.
But it was quite ironic because I was talking to, I'd mentioned previously, Hope Douglas, one of the top female Australian black belts. And I was talking to her about it at the competition, and it was quite ironic because Hope and Jess Fraser were both on I'm not sure if it was on the Jungle Brothers podcast or the Bulletproof for BJJ podcast, with Joey and JT. And on that, so they record whatever it is a week in advance, or I'm not sure, but they were recording the episode, and in the episode, I'm not sure how it came up, but Hope was asked, because she had recently done like a big tour through the US to score points to compete at the Worlds and everything. And she was asked, how do you find the equality in jiu-jitsu as a female and traveling and competing and going into different gyms? Like, do you find it, you get treated equally, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh man, I think like nowadays it's really good. Like there's not really a lot of sexism that goes on, yada, 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 yada. And then, so that was the day they recorded it. And then the next day, this announcement of this competition came out, and they're like, we might have to, we might have to amend that podcast before we release it.
Oh, well.
But I don't know, man.
It's a good conversation to have. And I think that, not to toot our own horns, but people, with a platform need to talk about it, regardless of whether or not it directly impacts us as like individuals, because I mean it doesn't. If we just ignored it, and I did go do that competition and I won, I'd be over the moon. I'd be like, fuck yeah, I got my ticket. But unless you reflect on it and say, yeah, but my female counterparts, my female teammates don't have the same opportunity, and is that okay? And am I okay with that? And should I be supporting that? Yeah. And I think that's the conversation you need to have publicly. And it just boggles my mind that it wasn't even something as simple as there needs to be X amount of competitors. And if there's not that many competitors, like there's no prize. You can't just have two of you and rock up and that makes
one
sense.
of you win a
I would
ticket.
support that because, from a purely business point of view, that's logical. And it applies, it doesn't matter what division, male, female, weight division, belt division, it doesn't matter. That is a pure numbers, fiscal conversation to have. And that's fine with me.
Even without, a ticket on the line, even a title on the line, like at the Worlds, I'm not sure what the number is, but I know that at Worlds there's a minimum number as well of competitors. So you can't
get a walkover and get the world champion.
Exactly. You can't have no one in your division or whatever and be like, man, so-and-so world champion 2022. No, you had one fight, or I don't know what the number is, because that title, you could argue, is more valuable than a ticket to the Worlds, right? So even that has a minimum amount of competitors. If there's not enough, I'm sorry, right? That's not on me, right? But gatekeeping like this, in my opinion, now it is on you, because all you're doing is ensuring that there won't ever be enough competitors.
I do have a question though. This is maybe this could be like a closing thing. if you do this competition,
why aren't women allowed at our gym, Adam? Because Dan still trains there. Can't get rid of him.
Yeah, he can't be within 50 meters of a woman. No, I had a question. With No-Gi Worlds, and say you do win this competition and you get the ticket, do you still need to qualify? Or does this competition qualify you for Worlds? I don't understand how they do that.
I don't know. Good question.
You can just register for Worlds.
That's a good question. You don't have to qualify for colored belts. You can just register.
I didn't know that.
It's just black belts you need to qualify. I actually don't know. I haven't looked in to see if the qualification process is the same for gi and no gi. Actually, don't know. I assume it would be, especially with the growth of no gi. Like if you went back 5 years ago, not as many people turned up to no-gi worlds as they did to gi worlds. So like the reason for qualifying is just to essentially limit numbers, right? Like
yeah, of course. Otherwise you have thousands of people in the bracket and then
just get
7 fights to the finals, something ridiculous.
Yeah, or it'll take like a whole week to run through all the divisions.
Yeah.
So that was the reason for it. I wouldn't be surprised if in the not too distant future you need to qualify as colored belts as well, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that's extended to no-gi worlds. I'm not sure. But it's hard work to qualify. Like it is not you
need a lot of points, eh?
I think, I know that Hope and her partner Ari's one of Australia's top male black belts as well. Like, man, they traveled through all the US like to score enough points to qualify for Worlds.
Didn't Ari just miss out on this Worlds?
No, didn't he do Worlds?
Or he did get?
No, I thought he qualified.
Never mind.
I'm pretty sure he qualified and fought Worlds. Yeah,
right.
But I mean, man, just the amount in flights and accommodation and everything, and also remembering that during that period of time you're not working, so you don't even
flights aren't really an issue if you go to this comp and win.
That's right. So guys, are you going to register at www. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Maybe it's just a whole bunch of women register who identify as male.
Yeah.
They win tickets and be like, fuck you, dude. Now, I would love to have a squad of people go in, sweep it, and then give the tickets away. And be like, you suck, dickhead.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That'd be a statement.
On that note, women, you're not allowed to train jiu-jitsu. Kieren has spoken.
Someone's going to clip that. Thanks for listening.
That's me. That's my job. I'll clip it.
Thanks for listening to the Beyond Jiu-Jitsu podcast, guys. And if you are a long-time listener and you're listening to this when it releases, thanks for sticking with us. And
sorry about the hiatus.
Yes, be more consistent. Within our power, we will do everything we can to keep the episodes rolling to you every Tuesday and Friday.
That's it.
On that note, till next time. See ya.